Phil Phails. Whoa, Phil Phails. Welcome to Phil Phails. My name is Philip, and today I'm really excited to have my guest, James McCrae, author, teacher, and meme poet. And today, Phil's going to begin a journey of failing at cultivating intuition. And I'm really excited to be here with you. I'll start with Phil Phails' 5 questions.
Yes.
5 questions about cultivating intuition.
Yes.
How does someone endure the stumbles along the way to success of cultivating intuition? How does one fail at cultivating intuition?
Sure. I like that question. Not how do you cultivate intuition, but how would one fail at cultivating intuition?
Yeah.
Well, I think that one would fail in cultivating intuition by thinking too much, and by too much doing and busyness and action. Because for me, intuition it's the art of listening. It's the art of being receptive. And when I look at the universe, according to Taoism or Chinese philosophy, there is a yin and a yang of energy in the universe, and yin is one of receptivity, and yang is one of action and doing. And we live in a society that's preoccupied with action and doing and productivity, and our minds are trained as such. So we have these very forceful egos here in the United States that are always on overdrive, and they're always calculating and analyzing and thinking and scheming. And one thing I say in my book is that a mind that's too full of information has no room for inspiration. So the intuition is that channel that creates space for inspiration. And for me, that is the art of listening and just getting out of the way of your own ego, which for me requires, meditation. Mm-hmm. So I start every morning with meditation, just because meditation is like practicing listening.
Yeah.
Listening to the universe, just getting your own thoughts out of the way so you can be receptive to the voice of the muse.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple things I'm hearing. One is we're fine on action. We're fine on doing and busyness. And so the invitation is to start to balance that out with opening yourself up to inspiration, open yourself up to listening to messages both within and probably, you mentioned the universe, so probably listening to what's around you, in your body.
Exactly, in your body, in your energy, in your emotions. And then when you do act, you will be acting from a place of purpose and depth and meaning, as opposed to just busyness for busyness sake. So your actions will be more aligned, so you can get more done with less action when they're aligned in purpose. But to align yourself in that purpose requires some inspiration that comes from the intuition. So it's just about listening to guidance from the universe. And it's always there, for us to tap into when we still our conscious mind and quiet the conscious mind enough to tune into that quiet whisper of the intuition.
Yeah. I like that. I remember I've done quite a bit of meditation. It started for me with John Kabat-Zinn's mindfulness-based stress reduction system. And I never knew when I was doing it right or whether or not I was, being still. And then when a thought would come, I would gently remove the thought and go back to thinking. It's a joke. Yeah. But going back to a void of stillness or darkness. And that's that sweeping away of what I've heard called the monkey mind.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no wrong way to meditate. I think it's just about cultivating an inner presence. And one way I think about it is listening to the empty space between your thoughts. Like you're going to have thoughts come in, and it's just about, can you just bring your awareness to that empty space between your thoughts, so as not to get fixated on the thoughts and to focus too much on them, but just to let them pass like clouds in the sky, but you're still focusing on the sky, not the clouds that are, coming and going.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Second question. What would success look like for someone who is cultivating intuition?
Well, it's going to look different for everyone. I don't believe in this monolithic idea of success as a one size fits all thing at all.
Yeah.
And intuition, especially because everyone has a different calling and a different purpose. So everyone's intuition is going to say something different. We all have a different purpose in the world that our intuition connects us with. So, I mean, success and failure, I like how you were saying that before, measuring those two against each other. And I think it's about, letting things unfold without having certain expectations on what that's going to be. Because I think we often associate success with different society definitions on what that looks like, which requires everyone to kind of put themselves in a box and compromise their own vision, purpose in order to achieve some carrot that society is dangling in front of us in the form of career success or whatever that looks like. So I think it's so important just to have your own definition of success that's based on inner fulfillment and not external validation.
Right.
And not worrying about failure, because I mean, as you know, and as the premise of this podcast, failures are often stepping stones to success, to a more authentic type of success. So just trusting your own path, regardless of what anyone else is saying to you.
Yeah. What comes to mind is like effortless efforting, some way of, and then another thing that came to mind hearing you speak about it was this idea that there's never, like, success requires an endpoint.
Yeah.
Like this point, this is success.
Right.
In an iterative process, we'll die, hopefully not today.
Yeah.
And what is success? What does that even mean? I guess we only see it. I don't want to speak in that way, but we see it in like objects, like I've got a house, or I've gotten accolades from a group of people, or I've gotten some award or certification, some way. But there might be a value to the community seeing you and having an influence on the world in a way that could be seen as helpful or successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that success is ultimately as being as present as possible, honestly.
Be here now.
Being here now, because that's when you're going to, have the most ability to respond and react and be the best version of yourself. So success does not mean, compromising yourself to please other people. It's about showing up as the best, most self-actualized version of yourself, which only requires presence, because that's when you can embody that version of yourself. And again, like the intuition, it's letting your action flow from that place of presence. And then everything you do will be more effective if you can do that. So it's really about that inner presence, not the external validation that we tend to chase.
Yeah. Like internal referencing versus external referencing. Yeah. Okay. Third question. Let's see. Third question would be, how does cultivating intuition impact you on a daily basis?
Well, as a writer, that's one of my most valuable practices, because I like to write every morning, and I write books and social media content and poetry and things like this. And, the better I am at cultivating my intuition, I let that lead my writing process. I really try to tune into, I call it the voice of the muse, in order to inspire the words that I write. So for me, it's like often I feel like I can't take credit for my own writing. Certainly I am the one writing it, but I often, it's usually not coming from my conscious ego mind. What I'm doing is I'm slowing down and just tuning into my body and letting myself be a vessel for inspiration. So the intuition is that portal that allows me to connect with that. So all my writing and my books, I have, my intuition to credit for the success I've had as a writer, quite honestly. And the more I can be still and listen, the better my writing tends to be. So for me, it's a very much a professional advantage to cultivate my intuition.
Yeah. I just realized that our setup here has the left side of your body kind of trapped.
You have to hit it?
No, it's fine. Oh, yeah. I just noticed, I think, oh man,
I'm not trapped.
I've trapped James. He can't fully express this army. You can get it out of there.
It's okay.
Oh man. Okay. Fourth question. And, I'm kind of improv in these questions for the most part. It's like, I'm going to be changed by you. This moment we share together will change me forever. And I'm wondering if there's thoughtfulness or an intentionality around that change. We talked a little bit about cultivating intuition being one side of a two-sided coin and the other side being expression.
Yeah.
And that expression being either podcasting or interviewing or poetry or writing books or art or a bunch of things like that. What kind of practices, when rubber meets the road type of practices, do you think I could invite into my life as a result of our meeting that would start to invite a James McCrae-esque type of cultivating intuition thing? I heard meditation. What other things?
Well, I would say whatever you want to do, whatever anyone wants to do, whether it's be a podcaster or a writer or an artist, whatever creative or professional ambitions you have, to truly treat it like a sacred service, right? So, I consider my writing time to be my sacred time. When I show up to open my channel and see what comes through, and to be of service to a higher purpose, and to take that responsibility seriously, so you can call in the right type of energy. So just showing up for whatever you do with a lot of intention, and really connecting with that deep purpose and letting yourself be a vessel for that purpose. So whatever that looks like.
So there's a time or we set an intention, we set a thoughtful intention, and let that kind of be foundational for whatever it is we're going to do.
Absolutely.
Whether it's taking time to speak with you, whether it's making food, whether it's connecting with our puppy dogs.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to, just set up the right kind of environment that's going to be conducive to that. Like when I'm sitting down to write, I burn some Palo Santo, I have some tea, I play some instrumental music. I really cultivate an environment that's going to be inspiring and that's going to set the right tone.
Heck yeah. I love that. I think after we're done with the questions, I might burn a little Palo Santo for you. I have some right behind you in a abalone shell.
Sure.
Is that how you pronounce it? Abalone shell?
I don't know.
I love doing that as well. And that makes a lot of sense. Taking time to prepare the space for intention, for the cultivation of intuition, setting the intentionality, having a purpose that you're connected to.
Right. And I think like, yeah, the inner world and the outer world are connected, right? So I think sometimes cultivating the right physical space will help prepare your consciousness, you know? So it's just like cultivating the in inner world and an outer world that's in service to a higher power.
Yeah. Love it. Question 5 is, if you could ask, who's a guru of yours? Who's a teacher that you look to for inspiration? That's not the question. It's getting us to the question, but I realize it does end in a question mark.
I mean, I'm inspired by so many artists and writers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I listened to some Bob Dylan on the way over here.
Bob Dylan.
So he would be one.
Let's go with that.
Sure.
So if you could ask Bob Dylan a question about inspiration and creativity, what would it be?
Oh, goodness. What would I ask Bob Dylan about creativity and inspiration? Huh.
It's interesting, James, because I was thinking about what I could ask you about that. And then I thought, well, I don't know either. I'm in awe after the poem and just talking to you. And I thought, well, maybe I'll find that awe in James about someone he looks up to and ask him the same question.
I would honestly because Bob Dylan is such a icon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would want to know, you know, and I'm, you know, so much more a beginner in my creative path than he is, of course, having been doing it for decades. I would be really curious on how he balances being Bob Dylan, the timeless genius, creative icon, and being
in the flesh,
and being like the guy that has to like take out the garbage. Because it's weird enough, like, to be, you know, I get recognized once in a while when I'm out and about, you know, but can you imagine what Bob Dylan has to deal with to be a human and also a living legend at the same time?
Yeah.
And just, so it'd be less about creativity and inspiration, but more how he embodies that position that he has in the world. Yeah.
Something about how do you stay grounded in a world where everybody looks at you as a god?
Totally. That's got to be a weird place to be.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious just how he deals with that personally, how he reconciles those two different parts of himself.
That'd be a great question. And I just had this thought, like, of what would it look like to set intentionality and thoughtfulness to taking out the garbage?
Right. Absolutely. Oh, sure. And that's what the Buddhist monks and whatnot, that's what they cultivate, is just like life as a meditative practice.
Yeah.
So everything you're doing it with that same mindfulness and attention that you apply to your meditation.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I'm not quite there, but that's definitely #goals.
Yeah. I feel that. That is the 5 questions.